Wonder Woman is facing like a two-front war in this issue. And it's not just about, like, punching bad guys.
It's about family, it's about legacy, and maybe even a little bit of video game strategy.
Okay, let's unpack this. The main story, Wonder Woman, outlaw. It picks up with Diana, now considered a criminal by the U.S. government.
The Sovereign, who we've seen in some previous issues, he's the one who declared her an outlaw, and he's put Sextique Steel in charge of bringing her in.
But Sked Steel isn't exactly sending in the regular troops, is he?
No, he's not. He is assembling a squad of Wonder Woman's greatest enemies.
So we're talking a serious villain reunion tour here.
Oh yeah, Giganta, Dr. Psycho Grails, Cersei Silver Swan, and even the lesser-known Angleman.
Each one with their own score to settle with Diana. Talk about bad timing, because right at this moment, the Wonder Girls show up.
Donna Troy, Cassie Sandsmark, and Yara Flor, they're not just there to catch up, though. They're pleading with Diana to surrender.
They know this fight is coming, and they're worried about what it will cost Diana.
Yeah.
But she's got other plans.
Instead of giving in, she puts the Wonder Girls through their paces with a series of trials.
So Yara chooses archery, a classic Amazonian skill. Cassie goes for a good old-fashioned arm wrestling match. And Donna picks something a little more unexpected.
A video game showdown, which honestly is a brilliant move by the writers. It highlights Donna's strategic side and maybe even hints at a connection to the Injustice universe, where heroes are pitted against each other.
It definitely makes you wonder what Diana's game is here. Is she preparing them for a fight, trying to scare them off, or is there something else going on entirely? We're left hanging with that cliffhanger ending, and the tension is high.
Now, before we get to the backup story and those infamous kangaroos, I wanted to remind you that if you're enjoying this deep dive into Wonder Woman's world, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We've got plenty more comic book analysis where this came from.
All right, back to the action. So while all this is happening, Wonder Woman's daughter, Trinity, is hanging out with John Kent and Damian Wayne's Superman and Batman's sons.
They're having a very different kind of challenge, trying to come up with a name for their newly formed super team.
And their solution: a kanga race across the Messera.
Yep, kangaroos on Paradise Island with the offspring of the DC Trinity. It's as wonderfully weird as it sounds.
I mean, the visual alone of Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman's kids riding kangaroos, it's just priceless.
But beneath the humor, there's a bigger idea at play here. We're seeing the next generation of heroes literally racing towards their own destiny.
They're not just mini versions of their parents. They're forming their own dynamic. Blending their legacy with their own personalities makes you wonder what kind of heroes they'll become.
And what kind of world they'll inherit, considering what Wonder Woman's going through in the main story. Two very different conflicts, yet they're both about facing impossible odds and choosing your own path.
It's a perfect example of how this issue balances those high-stakes battles with these quieter moments of character development. And we haven't even gotten to the villains yet.
We'll dive into that in the next part, and trust me, things are about to get really interesting.
So buckle up, listeners, because this Wonder Woman deep dive is just getting started.
So let's circle back to Wonder Woman and those trials she put the Wonder Girls through. There's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah, it's not every day you see a superhero training session that involves video games.
Exactly. Each trial reveals something, not only about the Wonder Girls themselves, but about Diana's approach to mentorship.
So let's start with Yara Flor and her archery challenge. She's the newest member of the group, full of fire and ready to prove herself.
And she almost takes Diana by surprise.
Yeah.
She's got that raw talent, the Amazonian bloodline, but Diana has experience on her side.
Yeah. It's not just about hitting the target. It's about strategy, about anticipating your opponent's moves. Diana turns the trial into a masterclass in Amazonian combat.
Then there's Cassie Sandsmark, always eager to show off her strength, so naturally she picks arm wrestling.
And she really gives Diana a run for her money. It's a raw display of power. But again, Diana's years of experience give her the edge.
It's almost like she's letting them win, just enough to get their hopes up. Then, bam, she shows them the true extent of her power.
Which brings us to Donna Troy and that intriguing video game showdown. I'm still trying to figure out what Diana's trying to teach her there.
It's such a departure from the physical trials, almost like she's acknowledging that Donna's strengths lie elsewhere.
Maybe it's about strategy, about thinking several steps ahead. Or maybe, as we discussed earlier, it's a subtle nod to the Injustice universe, where heroes are forced to make impossible choices.
Imagine the lesson. This is what happens when heroes fight each other. This is the chaos that ensues when we lose sight of our ideals.
Yeah, it's definitely a darker path than we usually see in Wonder Woman stories. But it adds a layer of complexity, forcing us to question what it truly means to be a hero.
And while the Wonder Girls are struggling with those questions, Diana's got a whole other problem on her hands.
Right. The villain, Sake Steel, has assembled quite the crew.
He's gone for a mix of brawn brains and magical mayhem.
Yeah.
You've got Giganta, all brute force and fury, paired with Dr. Psycho, who's all about psychological manipulation.
Then you've got the sorceresses, Grail and Cersei, both driven by their own personal vendettas against Diana.
Grail wants revenge for her father's death, while Cersei is in it for the power, always looking to advance her own agenda.
And then there's Silver Swan, a tragic figure who's been manipulated and turned into a weapon. It's hard to say where her loyalties lie.
She could be a wild card, a potential turning point in the story. And then, of course, there's Angleman, the master of geometry.
He's a bit of an unknown quantity,
Yeah.
but his powers could be devastating if used strategically.
It's a volatile mix, to say the least. Each villain brings their own baggage, their own reasons for wanting Diana taken down.
Yeah, it's almost like they're a ticking time bomb, waiting to explode. I don't envy Diana's position right now, facing down her own rogues gallery while also trying to protect the Wonder Girls.
It's a true test of her leadership, her strength, and her commitment to her ideals. And it raises the question
Why
of...
don't she be able to hold it all together?
Exactly. Will she find a way to defeat her enemies without compromising her values? And how will this conflict shape the future of the DC universe?
These are big questions. And it seems like every issue just adds more fuel to the fire.
And let's not forget about Trinity, John, and Damian. Their adventures on Themyscira might seem lighthearted compared to all this, but there's a deeper significance there too.
Right, it's not just about kangaroo races and training sessions. It's about legacy, about forging your own path in the shadow of legendary heroes.
They're literally running towards their destiny, and the choices they make now will have repercussions for years to come.
It's fascinating to see these two storylines playing out simultaneously. One filled with darkness and conflict, the other with a sense of hope and possibility.
It's like a microcosm of the DC universe itself, a world where darkness and light are constantly battling for dominance.
And it leaves us wondering which side will ultimately prevail. Will Wonder Woman overcome her challenges and emerge stronger than ever? Or will she succumb to the forces arrayed against her?
And what about the next generation of heroes? Will they rise to the occasion and carry the torch, or will they crumble under the weight of their parents' legacies?
So many questions and so much at stake is what makes this series so gripping, so compelling.
It's a reminder that even in the world of superheroes and supervillains, the real battles are often fought within ourselves.
The battles against our own doubts, our own fears, and our own temptations to compromise our values.
And it's in those moments of crisis, those tests of character, that true heroes are forged.
This issue of Wonder Woman delivers all that and more. It's a story that's both epic in scope and deeply personal, exploring the complexities of heroism, legacy, and responsibility.
And it leaves us on the edge of our seats, eager to see what happens next. Now, before we delve into the final moments of this issue and those lingering questions, I want to remind you that if you're enjoying this deep dive, make sure to hit that subscribe button.
It really helps the show grow, and we wouldn't want you to miss any of our upcoming episodes. All right, let's get back to Themyscira, where Trinity, John, and Damian are wrapping up their canker race.
You know, it really feels like Wonder Woman is being pulled in a million directions at once in this issue.
Absolutely. She's got the weight of the world on her shoulders, literally and figuratively. On one hand, she's facing down this team of her deadliest enemies, assembled specifically to take her down.
And on the other, she's trying to protect the Wonder Girls, who are pleading with her to surrender.
It's like a no-win situation.
Mm-hmm.
And it's clear that she's really wrestling with the potential consequences of her actions here.
Yeah, she doesn't want to put the Wonder Girls in danger, but she also can't back down from what she believes in.
It's that classic Wonder Woman dilemma, balancing her compassion with her unwavering commitment to justice.
And it's made even more complicated by the fact that her daughter Trinity is off on her own adventure with the Super Sons.
Right. They're facing their own challenges.
Yeah.
Trying to forge their own identities in the shadow of their legendary parents.
It's a reminder that the choices we make today can have ripple effects for generations to come.
And that even in the world of superheroes, legacy is a powerful force.
This issue does a brilliant job of weaving together those two storylines, showing how the personal and the political are often intertwined.
It's not just about punching bad guys. It's about the choices we make, the values we uphold, and the impact we have on those around us.
And it's about recognizing that sometimes the toughest battles are the ones we fight within ourselves.
Those battles against our own doubts, our own fears, and our own temptations to compromise what we believe in.
This issue of Wonder Woman is a powerful exploration of those themes, and it really leaves us with a lot to think about.
It's a reminder that even in the face of overwhelming odds, Even when it feels like the world is falling apart around us, we still have the power to choose our own path.
And that even the smallest actions can have a profound impact on the course of history.
So, what does this all mean for Wonder Woman? What does it mean for the future of the DC Universe?
Well, we'll have to wait and see how the story unfolds. But one thing's for sure, this is a story that's going to stay with us long after we finished reading it.
It's a story that challenges us to examine our own beliefs, to confront our own fears, and to stand up for what we believe in, even when it's hard.
And it's a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there is always hope for a brighter future.
This has been The Deep Dive, exploring the depths of Wonder Woman's latest adventure. Thanks for joining us, and be sure to tune in next time for another deep dive into the world of comics.